Do we have any lights? Oh, there we go. Somebody let me know if it's on or working or whatever it's supposed to do. I'm just checking for burrito debris here. Okay. Is this going? Are we going? Can anybody hear me? Right on, Mike. Excuse me. Sorry, just somebody let me know if it's actually working. And then we will get started. Is it working? Hey, there we go. Thank you so much, guys. Okay. If you guys can hear me, then, oh, great. Thank you. And Mexican Spec asked if this is in place of today's video, and the answer is yes. And I'll be happy to get into why. But that's basically the situation. It's been an especially hectic week here. And so in the process of trying to get everything finished for tomorrow's video, I didn't have time to film and edit a separate video for today. So this is, I just thought, well, here's a nice opportunity. We don't do this very often. And I thought we would stop in and say hi. Excuse me. And you know, maybe we'll open some mail and hang out. If you guys got any questions, just let me know. And I'll do my best to deflect. Holy cow. Honey Bunny is rolling some of the mail up to the door here. So we'll probably get into that in a bit. So, hey, there's Keith right on. Well, let's see who else is here. Wow, everybody from Ottawa and from Southern Illinois, Frank Worth, Kevin and Keith and Joe, Todd and Mo Parapolic. Where's Dean? Well, he's presumably at work, but I'm not sure actually. Delaware here and from Cleveland and Sandpoint, Idaho. That's cool. My friend Mark has a place in Sandpoint, Idaho. It's lovely. Doug Coxon, of course, from down under. Well, anyway, thank you guys all so much for stopping in. It's, of course, as usual, it's scrolling up pretty fast there. So I'm going to, man, look at everybody all the way around the world. And I'm just sitting in my garage like always. So from Detroit, hey, Park Digwig, patron of the show, you guys, all the patrons, thank you guys so much. We'll do a patron-only version of this very soon where it's a little less hectic. But because today there is no usual Thursday video, I thought it would be a fun way to stop in and say hi. I know we don't do this very often. So you can see I literally just came in from outside. What happened? Oh, there's the menace. You gonna come over and say hello? Come here. Well, there. Anyway, she'll pop in. Are you gonna say hello? Come here. Come here. Hang on, you guys. Oh, come here. Oh, what a bad dog. Oh, ready? Up you go. Oh, just for a second. Don't panic. There we go. If anybody has any questions for Frankers, she'll be answering your questions for the next 11 seconds. Ooh, what a nice girl. Yes, Frankers has been very busy today. Hey, did you chase any animals today? Yes, that's very good. Oh, okay. Somebody is all right. Anyway, that was it from Frankers. There you go. You go. Are you just mad because my guitar's in your chair? Sorry about that. So, there's David X. Thanks so much for stopping in, David. Very good. How is Mark's Lincoln coming along? The last time I saw Mark's Lincoln was at our friend's garage, Smitty's garage, and he was doing the brakes on the car. And because it's a hydro boost system, they were sending the hydro boost booster or whatever it is out to a specialist to be redone. The rest of the car, as far as I know, is pretty much good to go. He's had it all detailed, and you guys saw we got it running. I think it's getting a proper tune-up done at some point, and then that will be on the road. But the holdup was the hydro boost mechanism. So, but Mark's got 10 other cars, so he's he's kind of made it clear that it's not got to be a priority. So I will try to keep up with the questions, but that was interesting. Yeah, I hadn't thought about the Lincoln in a while, but he will. I presume it will be on the road, and we'll get a proper test drive of it. One of the fun things about that Lincoln of Mark's is that his wife is not a fan of it, so I think he's half the reason he wants it done is just to kind of troll his missus. So she's very kind and puts up with all of his car nonsense. So I think he's just doing that one to have a laugh. So Brian Bethel asks, how's Jim's Continental? I don't know how much time Jim is getting for that. I'm not pestering him about it. Jim's very busy with the shop there. And so I just kind of, I don't think he's still intending to try to get it to the wedding in BC. So I think just because other things are going on with Jim right now, that he is just kind of putting it to, if you start rushing through things, or, the whole thing with everything that we're doing here and with all the guys, and me included, is as soon as it stops being fun, then what's the point? So if the Lincoln or the Continental becomes oh, sorry guys, I turned the ads down to bare minimum. It looks like they're going to run the occasional ad. I turned them as low as I could. So thank you so much. And thank you, Hamilton Mechanical, for the $2 there. That's very, very kind of you. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with this stuff. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Jim's Lincoln or Jim's Continental. Don't call it a Lincoln. Jesus, they'll string you up. Yeah, it's just one of those things that it'll be something that gets done when it is fun. If it becomes a burden, then it defeats the purpose of doing it. Jim also has, of course, acquired a Mark I Continental, and I mean, what a pair of cars. Jim come by the other day in his Model A, and that's really cool. I've yet to go for a ride in it, but it's really neat to see him out riding it around. I think he's put more miles on his old Indian motorcycle than any of his cars this year. And those boys are very busy, as I guess most people are. I struggle to not be busy, but I always thought I wasn't busy, but then I realized I actually am. So that's kind of what's happening. Let's see. Oh, well, thanks very much. Is the wedding off? No, the wedding's a go. Absolutely it is. Yeah. When's the Buick engine going on the run stand at the GCFCE? Well, it's on the stand, and actually I'm going to do this live until 9 when Dan finishes work. And then I'm going over to install the last few fittings on the Buick engine, and really, fingers crossed, running it this Sunday is the goal. We just had Dan's been very busy, of course, as well. Besides working 6.5 days a week, has put up a gigantic shop at his house. So I've been kind of trying to stay out of the way as those things are happening. But I was over at Dan's the other day, and we were talking about running the Buick engine, and I got the last few fittings because, of course, we've got to bypass the transmission cooler, and I had to put an adapter for temperature gauge, and just these type of little bullshit last minute things that I didn't want to invite 5 of the agents over, and then we're all standing around ready to fire it up, and then we're going to the hardware store for some stupid little fitting. So I thought, I don't want to even tell anybody that we're going to run it until it is absolutely ready to turn the key. So hopefully that is tonight. Dan has Fridays off sometimes, so if he works till 9 tonight, I will be headed over there. So that will be a kind of a hard deadline, because I know I do tend to go on with these live things. I'll ramble on for hours. So anyway, that is the plan. The plan is Sunday. Short answer. Thank you, guys. Greetings from Northwestern PA. Yes, the Buick. And you guys notice that Randall from Shed by the Tracks is here. Cheers, buddy. So many great familiar names in the chatting here. Trying my best to keep up. So, did you hear Miles say the Strato is going for sale? Yes, the red 4-door 1960 Strato Chief will be going for sale, as will, I believe, spoiler alert, I believe the 2-door Post 1963 car will also be going up for sale. Because, Miles, nobody's made of money, and Miles, he paid a reasonable dime for that lovely black Parisienne. So he figured that, and also the red car is too nice to sit outside. So he only has so much garage space, as we all do. And so rather than let that lovely red car sit outside, he's decided that he's going to finish. He's got some minor stuff he's doing to the front end. Basically, we were joking, he's doing all the stuff that he should have done when he bought the car, but he's doing it now so that he can sell the car. But we might even get the car over here this week if he gets time, and we'll kind of give it a polish and detail and get some final glamour shots of that thing. It is a beautiful original paint car, and garage presumably since new. So just a nice car, and certainly I don't think will be very hard to find it a good home. It's a really nice little car. Let's see, Mark Bear. Oh, Condi Rogers, another patron of the show. And Joe, you guys, thanks so much for stopping in. Mark asks, keen to see some work on the SM and 72 Sport Suburban wagon. Yes, me too. They're both in line now. I really wanted to get the Splice done and the Buick ready for its new drivetrain. So those kind of had priority, and now we have an opportunity. If in the next couple of weeks, I think I would like to start on the 72 Plymouth Sport Suburban wagon. I know I've been saying that, and everything takes, everything seems to take a lot longer than I think. I thought that the Fury was a 3-week job when I started it. So yeah, I might be. I think that's a characteristic of certain personality types, that they will possibly underestimate how long things will take. Anyway, we do get them done sooner or later. O2 Warrior asks how the agents get their numbers. Sometimes I ask them, say, what do you want your number to be? And sometimes if I'm doing the credits for the video and it's 5 a.m. and I don't think it's appropriate to phone somebody, I'll just make something up. I think there's less to it than most people may suspect, but it was really in the beginning, it was just to help, just to respect people's anonymity on the internet. I think that that is something that I always took that seriously. So rather than using people's names, I mean, it's not like anything that goes on this show is like good for people's resumes. So I just thought, in the interest of preserving my friends' anonymity to the best I could, I mean, I'm not going to call them all code names, but we would give them numbers, and it would be kind of just a funny gag that has been going on for, and so now I'm just that's just how I'm used to doing it. Yeah. Holy cow, James. Thank you so much. James has sent $50. Well, we're going to have to waste that in the most appropriate way. That is very, very kind of you. There's certainly no shortage of bits and pieces that can go towards. Of course, I'm happy to do all the work, and most of the cars we build on a very, very low budget, but there is always a little bit of a budget. So that is so kind of you. Thank you so much, James. What does it say? Live stream on Thursday, spliced. Yeah, that's right. Buick and the Kaiser. Yes, exciting. You guys might see that I look like somebody who may have just maybe fired up a Kaiser engine. Ooh, yeah, I'm sure nobody cares, but I did just come inside, and yes, it was a nail biter, but we did get it to go. So that is a running. Well, I won't give it all away, but it is less broken than it was. Bill, thank you so much. Bill sent $10 because that is just so kind. And he doesn't even have a question. He just wants me to waste 10 of his dollars, I guess. So cheers, buddy. I'll make sure that gets wasted in the most appropriate way. It's very kind of you. Martin Jones, calendar idea. Yes, well, we have calendar ideas. I think there's we did a few different things this year. I hope you guys get a laugh. I will be possibly showing little sneak previews over the next little while. I'm going to only print 1,000 copies, and I'll let everybody know when they go on sale. But that is the plan. So Robert asked, will Laura do a one-word review on the Fury? Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah, I've hardly had the car out this year. I mean, I was saying last night, because we had them all out for photographs, and I thought, man, wouldn't it be nice if we could just hop in and just go drive around and burn some gas in these cars? Like they've got full tanks of gas, all of them just going stale, because I literally never go anywhere. Like there's just so much to work on around here that like, I mean, well, I think we went a couple of weeks ago. We took the Chev out and we just drove around for about almost an hour. That was really nice, just on the back roads, going just as slow as I want. There's no traffic. Really, yeah. I mean, but honestly, as long as we're building cars and putting this production together, there's just not as much time to just go out and burn gas as I really thought there might be. And with all the and as you finish cars, you have a greater number of cars, and then each one gets fewer miles. And I'm not complaining, like, believe me, but it's actually difficult. Not difficult, but it's like it's hard to run a tank of gas through most of them, just because I don't really go anywhere. I just there's always so much to do around here. And this year, now we're tearing the house apart and doing a huge amount of long deferred maintenance to the house. Like there was stuff that was getting put off. So that is all getting addressed this year. It's been just a massive amount of work. So we're that's even shooting up the weekends now, where I used to maybe take Saturday afternoons. That's not happening. Car Farm asks, what size of shirt are you? If we're talking about shirts that I sell, I am a large. And Miles would be like an extra large. And let's see, Dean was wearing 2XLs, and so that's kind of, there's your range, I think. We mentioned a reprint of older shirts. Yes, I'll definitely let you guys know when that's coming. I'm not going to tackle that little process until every single 37 Chevy shirt is delivered. They're doing a beautiful job of printing those, but I can only get 100 a week from them. So once every last one of them, and I've got receipt from everybody that every shirt has arrived, then we will probably consider either reissuing all of the old shirts at once, or maybe, to keep things simple, we'll do one or two of the old ones, and then we'll add other ones. But yeah, probably over the next month or two, we will start reissuing the old shirts. And I would like to have the calendars for 2025 on sale by September, October. So that's also a massive project by the standards of this place. But my friend James was in town unexpectedly for an unrelated event, and he offered to come over, and he was the photographer of last year's calendar, and he just did such a fantastic job that he offered to take pictures again this week. So I basically dropped everything that we had planned, and we spent the last 2 days, or we spent Tuesday and Wednesday photographing for the calendar, which left me in the situation today where I had to try to film enough for the weekend video, and it just became impossible to do another video today. So here we are. And actually, This is actually kind of fun. I enjoy this. So I'm going to have to scroll ahead here. Sorry, guys. I hope I didn't miss too much. Holy cow, you guys. Sorry. Oh, Rusty Junk asked where Dean was. Oh, you wrote Mike. I'm gonna assume you meant mime. What was that episode with the? That was the.
That was around March.
No.
The actor, like
No. I don't remember. It was recently.
Yeah, it was May then.
It was May or June sometime. Yeah, it was.
May 7th.
Well, what else was in that episode? Anyway, sorry, I can't think right now which one it was. There's just so many. Let's see. Oh, drive over to Kyle's and put hands. Well, no, I will keep my greasy mitts off of Kyle's chicken truck. That is his piece, and he's doing a, like, I understand that is a, that's one of those things where you don't want help. He doesn't want help on that, and it would be inappropriate to even offer. But and the other thing is, Kyle doesn't need any help. You guys trust me. Kyle does not need help, not from me. George, thank you much. George sent $20 with. I don't think he even had a question. Well, thanks so much, man. That's awesome of you. And Mr. 49 Studebaker sent $10. That's really kind of you guys. Kurt asked if we would ever proper intro for Honey Bunny. Yes, when she wants to, for sure. I mean, I don't think it's unrealistic to ask, but it's also just like with everything else, respecting people's desire to not, to remain anonymous is actually something I take very seriously. So anyway, one day she's sitting right there. Look at, she's even shy. She's not, the camera's nowhere near her, and she's looking at me shy. She's very shy. That's all. She's very shy and doesn't enjoy being on camera. So that's totally fine. Mr. Studebaker, thank you very much. Keep up the fantastic work. Well, thanks. Well, we'll keep up whatever it is that we're doing. And well, that's very, very kind of you to send that along. And we're just going to keep up what we're doing. Yeah. Fritz Caddy says 72 Fury fan, can't wait. Yeah, me too, man. I've just crazy about 72 Furies, which is weird, but I guess people are weird. The wagon will make the third one that I've actually owned. I had a beautiful one when I was much younger, and I had to sell it to pay the rent 1 month, and I think I sold it for $350, and it was just a gorgeous one owner car. And I was absolutely, completely destitute, and I sold it for $300 or $350 to pay the rent. And and man, you guys, it was so nice. It was perfect inside. It was original paint. It was a coupe, and with the low cut wheel arches in the back. It was just, I never forgave myself for being such a bum. I had to sell that thing. So Terry Bell Bliss, $49. Well, Jesus, thanks so much. That is so kind of you. You guys, again, we're not doing this for that, but it is very much appreciated. The YouTube machine is getting harder and harder to live with, and they are. YouTube is not what it used to be, and it's I'm going out of sheer stubbornness now, because I will never change what I'm doing to fit the new kind of aesthetic that YouTube is trying to present. And I kind of resent everything they've done to it, since they're trying to turn it into TV, which YouTube was created as an alternative to. And of course, it became a victim of its own success and was purchased by the same people that own all the TV stations. So They are not going to get to me, but whatever. It is what it is. And now YouTube is just this giant monolith, and it makes it harder when you don't want to play along. And so any amount of support, like as I've said before, I would rather take money from people who like the show and who are offering to support it through t-shirts and donations like this than to completely change what I'm doing in the hopes that Pepsi or something will want to put ads on my show. I don't really care. I really don't. So thank you guys so much. And it's very gratifying to see that whatever we're doing here means enough to somebody that they would even open their wallets. And I know people don't have a lot of money, and so I genuinely appreciate that. Let's see if we can get caught up. I'm so slow, you guys. I'll do my best here. And you guys, let's see. Ever thought about having a car show? I did used to have car shows a few times. The trouble is that it's a lot of work to get this place ready and cleaned up, and clean up the yard and clean up the house. And then, we'd get all the bands all rehearsed and everything. And then, so you do like a month of prepping for it. And then if it rains on that day, nobody shows up. And why would they? And then you've taken a month where you could have been actually productive on your own cars and projects, and you've kind of burned it up for to roll the dice on the weather. And it's too risky, and it's private property, so there's all this liability stuff. And in the end, I just thought it's just not something that right now that I'm going to do. Maybe if it was to be held somewhere off site here, like this place is an old farm, and there's tripping hazards, and there's, what I mean, and there's only one bathroom, and it's just not really set up for any kind of public style event. My favorite car shows are just when a bunch of my friends come over and we all park our cars in the driveway and talk about whatever we're working on. And that's kind of good enough for me. So Darren asks Citroen DS. Yes, well, those are my favorite cars. I'm actually maybe looking at another one, but we'll save that. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Get ahead. Mega Hello says, I got my 37 Chevy shirt, and it's awesome. Thank you. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you guys so much, everybody who bought one. It really does help keep us going. And I'm very, we make sure that we do the absolute best we can on that. I take it very seriously. I want the success rate to be 100%. I'm not, it really, really matters to me that 0 people are unhappy with that. So thank you. And I appreciate everybody's notes everybody sent a note that said they got theirs. It's very, very kind of you, and it means a lot to me personally that we have a 100% satisfaction rate with that. So very cool. Yes, Frankers does not want to answer questions. Exactly. She doesn't even want to listen to me, much less answer questions. So there's Oh, sorry, guys. Every time I touch this thing, I think anybody who's done this, they know that the chat will jump. Holy cow! I'm gonna have to hurry through here. Oh, Jonathan said his SOS mug got broken. His cat didn't like it. Yeah, I know. My favorite mug got broken because Frankers didn't like it when she was a puppy. So, let's see. Greetings from BC. Can we expect more serious Packard action? Well, we can expect some very unserious Packard action tomorrow. A Packard is a beautiful car. We would see. I mean, I don't have any plans right now for a full-on Packard for myself, but we will see. I mean, it's one of those cars that when the right one comes along, I've had half an eye open for a 1928 or 9 model because my grandfather was very fond of telling stories of one that he had bought during the Depression when the big gas guzzlers were cheap, and he kind of used it as a banger back in the 30s and late 30s probably. And so I would definitely keep an eye open for, I believe it was a 28 or 9 big sedan probably a 8 or 12 cylinder model. That would be a Packard that I would go out of my way if I saw one. There is one for sale locally here that's pretty close, so we might have a look. But again, you get back into that kind of car, those aren't $500 beater money. So yeah. So anyway, that would be a Packard I would go for. So let's see. I'm trying to catch up here. Let's see. More Boogie Van shirts. Yes, that one will definitely be getting reissued for sure. And let's see. If you could only have one car, what would it be? Geez, I don't know. Probably the D. Maybe not the one I have, but a Citroen DS that'd be hard. Of the cars I have now, if I could only keep one, it would probably be the 60 Fury, just because it meant a lot to me in terms of cars that I had a lot of my own time and effort into. That car is probably up there. I've certainly got cars here now that I've owned since I was 17, and those mean a lot to me too, but they're, I don't know, the Fury is just pretty epic to me, and that was a car that, that's a car that really made me happy. So I actually took it for a very short drive yesterday, and then I vacuumed it out. So let's see, who's a better guitar player? Better guitar player than who? Than me? Just about everybody. Let's see. Just trying to get through if there's any questions that anybody has. Rumble is giving YouTube a run for its money. Yes, it is. And I have an account there. I have not started publishing my videos there yet, but I'm going to start. If anybody is interested, that would be something. And I'm going to start publishing them there soon enough, but I would like to somehow not have to painstakingly upload every one that I've done. So I think there's a way of linking them. I will be looking into that for sure, because the way YouTube is going, I could get banished tomorrow for saying something true, so we just I would like to have a plan B. YouTube is been a lot of fun, and it's been good to me, but YouTube is, it is not something that you want to ever, think will be there for you forever. I'll put it that way. So, Nathan, thank you so much. Please do the Impala to the Fury standard, no American picker patina crap. Well, I think that is something, I do think about that. I suspect it's going to be done to at least that standard. Whether or not I do it as a completely stock restoration type of paint job, or part of me really wants to do something fun with it, the equivalent of Ashley's Boogie Van, but in kind of a 1970s lowrider feel. The car is scrap, it's pieces and bits, so I really don't owe it anything. I don't owe the Impala community anything. I can do whatever I want with the car. So I may decide to have a little fun with it, and if I do, it'll still be all stock inside and under the hood and in the door jambs and everything. So if the car ever needed to be put back to stock, it would be just simply a matter of sanding the paint and repainting it back to the original color. But I think meanwhile I might have some fun with it. I was talking to Ash about that, and I thought, it'd be, because I don't really have any really wild looking cars of my own, and we were driving around the Boogie Van the other night taking pictures, and it's pretty fun, to be driving around in the vehicular equivalent of a superhero costume. It's very, it's fun to watch people smile when you go by, and so flash stuff is, that's kind of fun that way. So, Wilco. Well, thanks very much, Wilco Automotives. $20, man. That's very, very kind of you. You guys, it's well, as I say, it means a lot to keeping us going here. Yeah, Randall knows what I'm talking about. He loves sticking it to YouTube. That's right, you guys. Yeah, and they are Yeah. Like when we started doing YouTube coming up 15 years ago, it was the Wild West. You could do and say, pretty much whatever you wanted. And that was what appealed to me about it, was that it was the anti-television. And now it has become, there's a lot of it's very glossy, and a lot of it's just simply television programs, coming to you on YouTube, but it's still television production, television direction, television people, and television production values, and it feels like television. And that was not what brought me to it. It was the rawness and and it made me laugh, man. There was a lot of shit that used to make me laugh, and a lot of it's gone now because they make it hard to make something real. And it's stuff like what we're doing. Nobody wants to sponsor it, and I don't blame them, and I don't want them to sponsor it. But that's the thing. And so I'm left to you guys to sponsor it, and so that's the real gratification, is that just people sitting at home will sponsor my show, and I don't have to water it down so that Pepsi will sponsor it, because Pepsi can F themselves. You see, I even censored myself there, though. See, how's Steven's new place and his Saab 96? I just saw Steven yesterday. His new place is getting better and better equipped. He's slowly working his way to building a little shop for himself there. His Saab 96 is kind of on hold while he rebuilds his entire acreage. He did kind of what I did, which is buy the place that you wish you had, but just a really shitty rundown version of it, and then waste 20 years building it into what you wanted in the first place. So he's on year 2 and I'm on year 23, and I'm back to rebuilding all the stuff I did the year I bought it, and now I'm doing it all again. So that's just the way it goes. It's a bottomless pit of failure around here. It's a non-stop slow motion plane crash. So Jonathan asked about Laura's cabin. I would like to get another look at Laura's cabin, and as soon as we see enough progress on it that I think it's worth a dropping off there and showing you guys, we will definitely be doing that. That's a fantastic project, and it's massive, and it has to be approached very methodically and carefully. So that's why I have no part of it, because that's not I'm not the guy for that. So oops, I just want. Sorry, guys, I do not. Oh, so sorry, guys. I've just damn thing. Every time you touch it, anyway, whatever. So I'm trying to get caught up. Thank you very much, Thomas. Thomas said $1.99. That is awesome. Maybe you guys don't know, but that's how much money I make for 200 people watching the show. So that really, Thomas, that means as much to me as watching one of my videos 200 times. So very much appreciated, buddy. Don't I like old trucks? No, I love old trucks. I have a couple, just haven't had time yet. Haven't had time. I've got a 60 Ford, which is very nice, and I got my old Dodge, which I use all the time. It's a 93, 2, somewhere in there. It's old. I didn't think it was old, but then I realized, I did the math, and I'm like, oh, it is actually old. So, Bill Kemper, $20. Thanks very much. Says this show keeps me out of the strip joints. $20. I know what $20 will get you in the strip joint, or I've heard. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I've heard what. Sorry, nothing. Doesn't get nothing. It gets you a Diet Pepsi. So. Yeah, no, that means a lot. Thanks very much, Bill. That's very cool of you guys. Rich says, thanks for all the shows. Thanks for watching, Rich. Rich is, man, you've been watching this show way too long. Matt WW, $50. Jesus, man, that is fantastic. Well, thank you. He doesn't even have a question for your $50. No, you could have asked just about anything. Thanks so much, man. It is really awesome. Yeah. And let's see. Michael says, love how the Impala is going. Buying the trunk floor is the way to go. Yeah, thank you. Well, anything that we generate here today, we'll put it towards the trunk floor and knocking 50 hours off of that project, just like that. And as I said, we'll save. I think it's smart to save our time for the pieces that we can't buy. As much as, excuse me, the show is about making the stuff. In some ways, like if I had a 65 Mustang, would you bother making the quarter panels when you can buy them for $80? Like it would be silly. So in that sense, with the Impala, it's kind of the same thing. Like, why would we make a trunk floor that's probably very difficult to make with any kind of accuracy when I can buy one and have it? Like once that trunk floor is here, it literally is going to go in one day. So that'll knock like easily a week of hard labor off of that whole project and get me onto the fun stuff, which will be, the rest of it, just about everything else. I'm still torn on the interior. Should I buy the interior? You can get it. It would be correct and nice, and it would add value to the car, but it's not cheap either. Buying the whole interior is not inexpensive, whereas the material to half-ass it myself in my living room is very inexpensive. So I'm still thinking about that. So, Junks Automotive. Hey, how's it going, boss? Got t-shirts in the mail. Well, thanks very much for getting one. That's awesome. So sorry, I'm just trying to get caught up there. Richard asked, since you sent the Citroen to Montreal to get news from the owner. Oh yeah, I talk to Mark all the time. He's using the car quite a bit, actually. He just took it from Montreal to Quebec City and back, and they take it on week-long vacations, and he sends pictures of it, just hammering down gravel roads with trees all on the sides, and it's all dirty, and I'm just like, yeah, that's what it was for, man. We built that. I wanted it to be reliable and usable, and they use it to go to the cabin and go on vacations, and it does not get babied. It gets kept in a garage, and it doesn't get driven in the winter, but when it comes out to do stuff, it's not pampered. It goes out and it hammers down gravel roads, and I'm just so happy for that whole, that was a lot of effort and a lot of money tied up in it, and it was a big commitment, and it was a big job, and to see it come to where it can be used and be enjoyed, and it is a reliable, very pretty car that you can go out and just get it filthy on the weekend and then wash it up and park it downtown and people take pictures of it. I couldn't be happier with the whole process. And Mark is working closely with Laura on her cabin. Actually, Mark is the one that found that cabin. So yeah, I'm very much in touch with Mark all the time. He's a fantastic gentleman and extremely well versed in the ways of antique buildings, and including the one that he lives in, which if you guys saw it would just blow your mind. Like it is amazing, the building that he has restored that they live in. Anyway, trying to get caught up. Thomas said $20. Thanks so much, Thomas. 2 Frankers from Tallulah the Bulldog. Well, cheers to Tallulah. That is awesome. Frankers, you hear that? She nodded. Yeah, she looks very happy. That is awesome. Thank you guys so much. Just trying to get a little caught up. Tony asked, Biscala's place, which car gets titled? It'll be titled as an Impala, just as the Fury is titled as a Fury. It's not really very difficult to do, and I own both cars, and both cars have serial numbers, so I could title it as a Biscayne, but why would I? I mean, the Impala is how it will get titled, and it will be indistinguishable from an original car as the Fury is. So any chance I would build the Studebaker? If you're talking about the 58 coupe, yes, there's a chance. That would be, I would love to save that car. I was looking at it again for the calendar. We had it fired up and running yesterday. I have a bunch of that filmed for tomorrow's video or Saturday, whatever. Yes, I would love to restore that Studebaker just for the sheer nightmarish difficulty of it, because that thing is poo-poo. That thing is so, like, when you open the doors, the whole car kind of goes, you have to lift the body back to get the doors to close. Like, that thing is bad. So I would like to restore it just because of how insane it would be to try. So yes. MF100. Oh, thanks very much. Post also to well-known alternative platforms. Yes, that is a plan for the future. And as soon as I work it out how to do it efficiently, I will be doing that. I'm sure there's an easy way, but honestly, I'm just so busy and so computer illiterate that even just managing to do what I do is about all I can handle. And come Saturday morning when the video is published, I just have to get away from computers for at least a couple of days. I can't, my eyes are fried from 20 hours straight on Friday, and I just have to get away from them. So there's maybe time there where I could be thinking about that stuff, but honestly, I just need to be away from it just because it's very intense and it's very exhausting. So, Impala Man's Garage asked, does your band have a name? Well, we were kind of calling ourselves the Ultimate Set of Tools, which of course is a reference from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I think that's what the movie is called. Yeah. And there's a scene where Sean Penn crashes Buddy's car and he says, I can fix it because my dad has the ultimate set of tools. So we thought that was a funny name. And we were changing the name because the only time we ever play in front of people is at my birthday at Halloween or whatever. So we were just changing the name of the band randomly for years. And then that one just kind of stuck. So it doesn't really matter. But that's kind of the name. Like if we have to pick one, I guess that's what that's the name we're using. Dr. Rick asks, have I ever thought about getting a Citroen SM? Yes, I thought about it 3 times, and I have 3 SMs. So I have one in the garage that we'll be working on as soon as a few other things are tidied up. I want to get that finished. And I have 2 for parts, one of which is very complete and one of which is not very complete at all. So I might be kicking the tires on a 4th one, but we'll see. Probably not, but they are my favorite car. Like, wow, I've never driven anything like an SM. They are fantastic. So what's the channel name on Rumble? Oh, it's Cold War Motors, but I haven't published anything there yet. So, Thomas Nichols got his chef shirt. Oh, thanks very much. That is awesome. Let's see. You guys, very kind here. Ronald likes the lowrider paint idea. Well, thanks very much. No chain steering wheel. Probably not. I like the lowrider thing, but I don't know if we want to go quite that far. But if maybe somebody gave me a really nice one. John Hallwell, $20. Thanks very much to Frankers from Woodstock. Frankers, you're making out like a bandit. She's just laying on her back. She's passed out now. Okay, Frankers, I'm keeping it. Too bad. Thank you very much, John. Frankers will be very sad to learn that I've spent it on. No, I'm just kidding. Frankers needs more milk bones than almost any other dog. So, is Kyle ever going to do anything with the old beater poncho? Are we thinking of Miles? He's got a 63 2-door sedan. No, he's going to probably move that along because it's inspected and plated. So he did do a bunch of work to it, but he's probably going to sell it because he bought that lovely hardtop. And so that will probably, when you only have so much parking space, I think he can't really justify having 2 63 Pontiacs when one is lovely and one needs the usual amount of work. So he bought the nice one basically to buy himself a couple of years of his life back. Certainly having learned the hard way on the 66 Fury, which of course we shot this week for the calendar. Honey Bun, is it possible you could get me a glass of water? Thank you so much. I'm just a thirsty old bastard. So that's sorry, I'm just trying to get caught up here. Has Honey Bunny got to ride the Honda? Oh yes, she's taken to it very, very well. Actually, she can drive stick, so it wasn't really that big of a reach to go from that to a motorcycle. And of course, that little Honda, you can, in first gear, it only going just barely over a walking pace. So there's no better machine to learn on. And So she's just going, stopping and starting and just getting the basic mechanics of it. And yeah, she probably wiped out less times than I did the first time I rode a motorcycle. So yeah, she's doing very well. And the machine, of course, is just a treat. And thanks again to our friend Scott in Calgary. I guess he's actually from here originally, but he donated that just to find it a home. So look at, she won't even come in front of the camera. Thank you.
Okay.
Samuel asked, what's the deal on street legal stuff in Calgary? I see you take a car out and drive. Are all of them tagged? Yes, everything that I drive on the street is tagged. If you see us driving the old junkers around the yard, those are in the yard, yeah. The junker races that we shot at Laura's, well, that's private property, and those cars had no brakes and stuff. But anything that you see on the street is registered and insured. So, and it's it's a very lengthy process to get them registered and insured here. They have to pass a very stringent inspection, and it is a serious commitment to getting them done. So yeah, if you see it with tags on it, those are legit tags. Yeah, for sure. Will I ever do a 58 Plymouth Fury? Well, I'll do it. I've got several 58s. So Fury is probably not coming my way just because they're so rare and expensive, but 58 Belvedere would come my way. I would make that happen for sure. I have a good body for that, and I have all the 58. I've got enough stuff to build a 58. So I want to do a 57, 8. I have a 9 and a 60, and I have a 61. So, and I have all the pieces to do 7s and 8s. I've got something like 3 57s and 2 58s or 3 58s or whatever. So I got lots of pieces to make one. It's just they're big commitments in time. So I have to. I'm definitely going to do both of those. I want a 7 and an 8. So I want to think of different ways so that there's not identical cars. Excuse me. So yeah, they're coming up for sure. I'm even thinking of taking the old crappy 58 that I put on the channel 15 years ago and putting that on the road in its looking like it does now. I think that might actually be a fun way to put that car together without having to dedicate 500 hours to a paint job. You could actually it might be fun to just get that thing, street legal. That's still a huge amount of work. But when you take the finessing of the body out of it and just kind of hammer some windows in it and get it all, you still got to get it all legal. But maybe I could knock a couple of 100 hours off of it if I didn't paint it. Randall says those glossy big time guys like Kyle are ruining YouTube. I know, you and Kyle both, you pirate guys in your big wheel productions and fancy wardrobes, just wrecking it for the rest of us. Kurt's apparently got something wrong with his brain, and he just sent $100 for me to just completely waste on stupid things. Kurt, you are a sad bastard. So cheers. Does YouTube take a bite of that? Yes, I believe they do. I'm afraid to say that is the case, Kurt. If anybody's wondering, PayPal donations get way less of a bite taken. Not that I'm discouraging people, but I do have a link if people want to support me more directly with YouTube taking less of it. The PayPal link is a way to do that. I don't know. I try not to make the thing too much about, getting out my calculator and you know what I mean. But I do know just generally that is the case, that YouTube takes a much bigger chunk of it, A, than they deserve, and B, than PayPal. And PayPal they're no angels either, right? But unfortunately, this is the platform we have, and as long as I'm doing it, that is kind of the nature of the beast, I guess. I'll tell you, they both take less of a chunk of it than some giant TV production company, which would not only take most of the money, but actually tell you what to say and where to stand, and what cars to work on, and then who to be mad at and all that bullshit. So we're not, at least I can say we're not doing that. Yeah. So anyway, I'm trying to get caught up, guys. Thanks so much. Just trying to get it. Robert says I have a 58 Hemi for you. If help me get it to you, well, thanks, Rob. I'm afraid that's a giant. That's a very large thing. I don't know, unless you're very local, it's not really realistic. But thank you. That's extremely kind of you to offer. We are in Edmonton, so if you're not very local, it's just not realistic, and I couldn't ask anybody to do that. It's generally pretty overwhelmed by the support that I get anyway, so I don't want to start getting crazy here. But thank you so much, Terrence. $20. Thanks so much. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you very much, Terrence. I'll keep up whatever it is I'm doing. If anybody wants to think it's great, well, that's very kind of you guys. We're going to keep doing it. You know why? Because I like it, and I've managed to stay sane doing this by only filming what I was going to do anyway, right? If you start trying to get up in the morning and think, how am I going to make money on YouTube? It becomes a completely different animal than if you get up in the morning and say, I'm going to work on this car that I found in the ditch and I'm going to film it. And if nobody watches it, I don't care, because I was working on that. That's what I was doing anyway. And that's how I've been able to stay sane doing this, because otherwise you end up just trying to second guess all these algorithms. And I just can't be bothered. I just can't be arsed, really. Sometimes you think, oh, this is going to be great for YouTube and we're going to do this, and then nobody watches it anyway. So I'm just happy now. Like, you know what? The light's staying on. Do you get to work on the cars that you like? Then shut up, be happy, and just keep doing that. And then it's the only way you can, because YouTube, it eats up a lot of people. Like it can be very ruthless if you start taking it too seriously. It can be very hard on your mental health. And I got enough problems. I don't need like, am I famous enough as one of my problems. I just can't be bothered. So this is it's very gratifying to see that there's a tiny number of people who really do enjoy and look forward to whatever it is we're doing. So cheers to all you guys. And Neanderthal Man, apparently needing to get rid of $20 today. You are a madman. Thank you very much. And I will fritter. Should I just make a list of silly shit that I'm going to buy with your guys' money? Maybe I should buy a new computer. This computer is getting pretty high mileage, I think you would call it if it were a car. This would be like an ex-rental Ford Fusion. That's what this thing would be. What would you like to add to your collection? TMA62. What car would you like to add to your collection? That is very hard. I have most of the cars that I want. If I could add to my collection, geez. Well, I mean, if we're talking fantasy land here, I want a Facel Vega. If we're talking realistically, there's any number of fantastic cars. They're fairly similar to the ones I have. Yeah, I mean, some of the cars, I have most of the cars I want. The question is, can I get them all done, right? I would like, I would actually like a Datsun F10 again. I had one years ago. So if I could get a hatchback Datsun F10, that would make me happy. I want all the Plymouth coupes from 57 to 61. So I already have those. So that pretty much takes care of that. And 72 Fury, which is one I've always wanted. So to have come up with the Sport Suburban is the one I wanted. So it's not, there's, on the other hand, like every day I turn on the classifieds and there's 10 cars that I want. So it's, at a certain point, are you buying, there's cars that you buy on condition like the 37 Chevy. I wasn't really looking for that, but it was just the condition of it was just so delightful, and it was so original. And if it had been a Plymouth or a Ford and it was the same price and the same condition, it wouldn't really matter to me. It was just such a nice 1930s car, and it was so original and just such a treat to drive. So that was a condition kind of car. I would like to buy a pre-1920 car and a pre-1910 car. We joke about, it's not really serious until it's got a tiller, and there's much older cars I would like. Somebody says 60 Ford Starliner. Yeah, that's a great idea to have the Plymouth, Chev, and Ford. 60 Ford is a lovely car. I would have one of those any day. But again, the right one would have to come along at the right time. And these are all, and meanwhile, I got lots to do. I would certainly, somebody said Panhard. Yeah, I could definitely have a Panhard. I could have, I'd like a Pugeot 404 wagon. I would like, I'd like a Lancia. I'd like, there's plenty of cars. There's plenty of cars I would like. I love 50s GM cars. I just love them. And it's almost impossible. The trouble is when you have the sickness this bad as you want them all. So the biggest challenge I have right now is not buying every car. So I have, I would never run out of stuff to do if I never bought another car. Just I could amuse myself with all the cars I have already. The 50 Buick hardtop I would love to rebuild. And I have enough bits to do it. So, but where does it fit on the list? Do you want this? Do you want a 58 Plymouth, or do you want a 50 Buick, or do you want a 59 Buick? And right now, a 59 Buick is at the top of the pile. And, and it's just, as long as I get up in the morning and look forward to it, and I'm building cars that I genuinely do want, and obviously I don't build cars because of what they'll do on YouTube, because I wouldn't have any French cars then. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep building what I like. Somebody says you should have an AMC Pacer. I love AMC Pacers. I would totally have one of those, but it would have to be the right one. And the thing is balancing what do you want with how much is it worth. It would have to be the right balance of inexpensive enough that it's not going to ruin your life, but not such a piece of junk that it's going to ruin your life. And so finding that balance is like with the Buick. That was a cheap example of a 59 Buick, but it wasn't completely garbage. It was sort of garbage, but it wasn't like irredeemable garbage. Like the 60 Impala was garbage. But then if you can splice it, then you can, you know what I mean? But that's a lot of work. I would never bother to do a splice on a 59 Buick because the value isn't there, and there are good ones out there for reasonable. Whereas 60 Impala two-door hardtop, I can't afford a good one. I'm never going to be able to afford a good one. I couldn't afford a good 60 Fury hardtop, and I can't afford a good 58 Plymouth Fury hardtop either. But I can afford garbage ones. So those cars, I'll buy garbage and I'll build them. And good, cars good ones are reasonable. If a good one is reasonable, I would rather buy a good one. And it's just to be realistic and save my effort for the ones where I can't afford a good one. So there's and I'm just, because I'm so busy and I don't really, I just have to be realistic with the time. If I was going to live 500 years, I'll build them all. I don't care, but it's just not realistic. So, sorry, I'm trying to get caught up. Whoops. Geez. Sorry, guys. I did push the thing and it takes off again. I'm probably answering questions from 20 minutes ago or an hour ago. Geez. Oh, if I missed any super questions, please let me know. Rick Rice, Rick Rice sent me $25. Apparently Rick broken in the head. Look forward to every video. You're surrounded by a special group of friends. Yes. Use this towards mail marathon munchies. Well, thanks so much, Rick. I was going to open some mail today, but we seem to be getting getting kind of distracted with Anyway, I mean, if you guys would rather I answer mail or open mail, please say so. I'm happy to do it. I'd like to get caught up on that too. But I'm trying, there's lots of great questions here that I'm happy to answer. So if anybody has any, please do. And if you asked your question 9 times and I haven't answered it, it's maybe just because I'm, the subject of the question is not something that I really want to address right now. That's all. And it's not anything, I'm not mad about it, but it's just, if you ask the question a bunch of times and I've probably seen it, chances are it's just not something that I feel is something I want to address in a public forum right now. That's all. It's not nothing personal. It's not that I hate that guy. There's none of that. It's just some things are just outside of what I think I want to talk about here right now today. So that's all. If anybody, but by all means, fire away. If you can ask it 10 times, I'm not going to be offended. But some things I'm just not going to address. That's all. And and I think a lot of things, the answers will eventually present themselves anyway. So maybe sometimes we can save a guy wondering for a while. Mike asks, is the Newport still the winter beater with the heater? Well, the Newport is the donor with the motor or something for the 72 Fury wagon. So if I get a chance this summer, fall, whatever, before it snows, I'd like to swap the entire subframe, drivetrain, and everything into the 72 wagon, because that's a car I want to restore. That Newport I paid $200 for 20 years ago, and I patched it up and I drove the hell out of it and I had a blast with it. Now the body is completely shot. It's all rusting out, and but the drivetrain and the front suspension and the frame and the transmission are they're still just as good as the day I got the thing. And so I love the idea that the good part of that car will live on in another car and bring another car back to life. One which I think is rarer, more interesting, and worthy of salvaging. And it allowed me to save a car that otherwise that Plymouth wagon would be a parts car, because the engine is broken, the frame is bad, the transmission is toast, it's very rusty. It needs a huge amount of restoration. And if the Newport can, be an organ donor to save a really special car like that, then I'm very, very happy to do it. My glass of water is lemonade. We're trying to stop buying so much soda. So lemonade is cheap and it's yummy. Pardon me. Somebody subscribed to my Rumble channel. That's awesome. You're probably the first subscriber. Speaking of, I don't know if everybody got my note. My niece's play is tomorrow. Starts tomorrow night if you're in Edmonton. She has written any number of plays and productions, and she writes and directs all of her own movies. And she's extremely, extremely talented. And I think it would be really fun. I'm really looking forward to it, and it'll be anybody who's there will get to say I saw her when, So that's tomorrow. We have a kind of an artsy film festival play kind of festival thing that goes on in Edmonton once a year for about a week, and she wrote a play and had it accepted, and so that is going on nightly for the next week or so. So if anybody is local, it's Dave and Porter and the New World Order. And she's selling tickets online. The post I put up today has a link to where you can buy tickets. If you're local, I think it would be, I haven't seen it. She's very, we always ask her, what's it about? What's it about? She won't say it all. But I have a feeling, having seen the rest of her stuff, that it will be very funny and it'll be very good. She actually wrote a movie that was filmed mostly at my place. If anybody is interested in seeing that, she has a YouTube channel called Formal Basketball Productions, I believe. No, Formal Basketball on YouTube, and you can see all of her previous work there, dating back to I think she was 14 when she wrote her first full-length musical with, like, she wrote all the music, she wrote it was absolutely hilarious. And it was about the syrup, it was about the pancake syrup wars with Aunt Jemima and versus Mrs. Butterworth, and it was extremely funny. And so I'm very honored to know her. She's going to do great things. And so anyway, if anybody's local, I think that you will really enjoy it. She has a very wicked sense of humor, and she's going to do a lot. So anyway, if anybody gets a chance, that'll be fun. If anybody has any questions about it, please let me know, and I will be able to. I could even ask her. I could probably text her. She never texts me back. Sorry, I'm going to try and get caught up a little bit here, you guys. Let's see. Somebody said mailing me a check. If you mail a check to me, and this, I only say this because it happened, if it's written to me, Scott Newstead, that's fine. But checks to Cold War Motors is the name of a YouTube channel. It does not have a bank account, and so therefore and I appreciate, and it has happened, and people have been so kind, but I can't cash them. So I very much appreciate everybody that has done that, but I don't cash them because you can't. Cold War Motors is us hanging out here. It is not a business per se. So that's all. And again, not saying that anybody should. Just if you were going to, and I couldn't stop you, if it's written to me personally, then I can cash it. But otherwise, I cannot. Deborah asked, "Do you have plans to restore the Peugeot 403?" I don't currently have plans to restore it. I'm happy to have gotten it running. The thing with restoring that car is it needs a fair amount of work, which is fine, but I just have a feeling I would get halfway through it and then a wagon would come along, and I'd rather have that. So, I'm not going to get rid of it. It's just kind of going to live here, and then we'll see what happens. Perhaps a better one comes along, perhaps an estate, or what do they call it, break, comes along. And if none of those things happen, I even considered making an Italian style coupe out of it. I don't think Peugeot offered them from the factory in a two-door hardtop, but I think there were tiny numbers of coach-built models done as hardtops, and I think that would be the only way that I would attack that 403 is to make something very special out of it. So that is but again, it's easy to say that, but it's another thing to actually commit the 1,000 hours to making it happen. So I'm going to, the 403 is just kind of right now. I mean, I couldn't resist it. I had to have it, of course, because I'm insane. So I had to have it. And then I have two, and then put all the best pieces in. But that's about as far as it's got to go, because I really think it would be hasty to throw that in the line with all the other cars that need way less work. Those should be in front of it. And I try to do the cars that need the least amount of work first, so that you can be enjoying them while you're working on the cars that need more work. Because if you do the big monster jobs first, then all these cars that only needed 100 hours or so, they're all sitting outside rotting while you're working on this big endless piano tied to your ass. So it's better, like the little Renault. I mean, it needed paint and it needed an engine and stuff, but it didn't need like 1,000-hour restoration. So that car snuck in front of the line just because it was already pretty good, not because I was like, oh, drop everything, I need this Renault. It was just like, well, if this car sits around, it's going to be garbage. So since it needs fairly little bit of work, do it first. Now it's in the garage, it's got plates on it, I can drive it, and now very little time was lost on the other cars. So this summer I started with the Buick and the Chev. We start two big, fairly monstrous jobs, and we throw those on the barbecue and let them kind of slowly get worked on. And so right now we got the SM and the Buick and the Chev going, and those are all three pretty big, kind of ponderous projects that are going to take some time. So got to hammer through those. And that's one of the reasons we do all this splicey, choppy kind of stuff in the summer, is because you can do it outside with your friends, and it's a lot easier to have the big A-frame cranes and stuff and do the kind of just chuck everything together and kind of there. Now that's sort of something. Now we can put that in the garage and get more serious about it later, or we can put it inside. And now I don't have two cars sitting around. I just got one, and the donor car, it can go away. So I've actually gained myself a parking spot, which sounds kind of silly, but I really do, like when you start getting over 50 cars, every little parking spot is kind of precious. So that's kind of how the process works. I don't even know if it works, but that's kind of how it's going, just kind of chucking stuff together. And it seems a bit random, but I also like to think that it provides, like, some people don't want to watch this project, but so if we do a little bit on each one, that's the best we can do, really. And so much time is spent waiting for parts for one car or the other that if you only had one project, and you were sitting there and you weren't going to touch anything else till that was done, well, I mean, a lot of your videos would be sitting here going like this, waiting for ball joints or whatever. So this way, with a bunch of different projects, we can kind of play with this or that, and parts are on order for one, so we'll go work on the other one. And I'm just going to keep plowing through them. It's been working so far. I've got a bunch of cars done, but we want to keep, you got to keep grinding them through. It's a huge amount of work. Each one of these cars is a huge amount of work. So, sorry guys, I'm just gonna. Oh, another person asking what GCFCE means. It means the Gentleman's Center for Cultural Enrichment. Oliver says, please don't build a Christine clone. Don't worry, Oliver. That's never been the plan. Yeah, the world is saying, yeah, cheers. I mean, the thing with those, the best ones have already been done. Like, there's some out there that are like perfect movie princess cars, and there's some that are, there's like ones with 1,000 horsepower, and there's a million versions of that car. I've got nothing to add to that, little niche. I've got nothing to add. The best ones have already been done. So I'm going to do something completely different with my own, and that's fine. And I'm happy for all those guys that have that car. Of course, it's not that I'm going to pretend I never saw that movie. Like, of course I did. That's the kind of the take there. Neanderthal man, did you send me more money again, or did I dial this back way too far? Sorry, you guys. Wow, you guys are crazy. I can't even keep track. Anyway, thank you so much. Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. I may have dialed this back way too far. Let me just. Oh, is everybody gone? Oh wait, sorry. YouTube's whatever they call this chat thing is a bit. Steve CR says formal basketball. Yes, formal, not former. Formal formal basketball productions, I believe, and there's probably a half a dozen videos there, at least. Anyway, yeah. So if you guys want to check out her other stuff, she and her friends have, like I say, that's 100% original. She does all of her own writing, direction, editing, music, everything, 100% by herself. And she's awesome. So good for her. And one day I'll be able to say I knew her, and then she'll deny it, but I'll still know it was true. Let's see. Plans for the traction Avant. Yeah, actually, fun question. Flash 1499 asks, what's the plans for the traction Avant? The plan is, the first plan was kind of restore it, and then I got looking at it, and again, we talk about, we're not going to live to be 500 years old. I think the plan now is it's fairly presentable. I mean, it's not good. The paint is not great. The bodywork's not great, but the interior is very nice, and if you stand back far enough and don't really know what you're looking at, it's kind of a cool old smoker. And to do it properly would mean undoing a bunch of old work, which is part of the job. And you'd have to get it all the chrome done. You'd essentially have to redo everything. None of it is good enough that I want my name on it. But if you just fix the brakes and the head gasket and got the lights to work, you could just drive it the way it is without being nervous about it at all. You could take it to the store, you could take it and leave it on the street and go with your friends. You could go for, assuming that I ever left the yard, which, is still debatable. But the So I think plan B for the TA is head gasket, brakes, get it past an inspection because it needs an out of province, what we call an out of province inspection, which means essentially everything has to be mechanically good and safe. Can't be any holes, can't have any stuff that doesn't work. But you won't fail an out of province inspection for a bad paint job. So I think I'm going to leave the bad paint job just because that, again, let's knock 500 hours off of this project. Ignore the paint, live with it. It's not, most people think it looks pretty good. And I might just say, you know what, let's just leave it at that. Then I don't have to do the bumpers. I don't have to whatever. And then we just use it as a Franker's limo and just have a lot of fun with it. It's a very cool car, but they don't have a huge amount of value. Like especially I thought, somewhat surprising, the Familial, the big fancy one that holds all like 9 people or whatever. It actually doesn't have the value of the smaller models because they're a lot lighter. They all have the same engine. So the big car with it's definitely the most sluggish of all the TAs, and none of them are particularly quick. So they don't have a ton of value. So the smart money on that thing is get it roadworthy and go enjoy it the way it is. For the few times a year that I'm actually going to use it, I think that might be money and time better spent. And then, then it can be kind of a fun beater. So I think that's kind of how we're going to go with that. So that's the plan. Sorry, Larry friend. I guess he's asking my name. Yeah, you got it right. Yeah, for sure. That's correct. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sorry, buddy. That's right. Did you get your carbon tax refund check? No, I don't even know what that is. Thanks, though. I don't think Trudeau is in any hurry to send me any money. There's Buggy. I just joined. Hey, buddy. And let's see. Does Honey Bunny have an agent number? No, she does not. She's laughing at me. James is subscribed to Formal Basketball. Cheers, James. And so, yeah, there's some funny stuff on there, and you'll probably recognize it in one of those in one of the later movies. You'll recognize some of the scenery here. So let's see if I can get caught up. Jerry's is out. Cheers, Jerry's. Jerry is out. And let's see. Question for you. 2 Cadillacs, 96. One's got to go. Geez, I just have no idea. I couldn't even tell you. I would say I would sell the one that needs work, just because then you can enjoy the other one, and then you've got money put aside where you can buy something else. That's just, but I'd have to see them to be sure. But asking me what car to sell is a bad idea because I never sell anything. So, hey, John's Guitar Barn sent me $10, and I will use that to put strings on my poor guitar. You guys, can you see the guitar in the back there? The strings in that thing are probably 40 years old, and all the winding is coming off of them, and then it goes when you're trying to play it. That's how much of a cheap bastard I am. It's not bad enough that it's a $90 guitar, but I can't even put strings on it. John's Guitar Barn is sponsoring new strings for my crappy old Yamaha guitar that I make the music for the show with. Thank you so much, John. That's very kind of you. And the crappy Yamaha thanks you too. I give that guitar a hard time, but it never goes out of tune. Is just great. And I have behind me here in this little cubby hole thing here, there's an Apple computer that I use to make all the music for the show. And there you go. Am I almost caught up? Oh, that's terrific. Sorry, guys. Now that I'm caught up, if I missed your question, you can start again. So I'm kind of not very good at this. So Kevin says your cars don't seem to rust like here in Ohio. Well, I don't know. The cars around here, the bottom 6 inches rust, which is way preferable to somewhere where there's high humidity where the whole car rusts. Like most of the cars, when they're old around here, the floors are gone, the rockers are gone, the bottoms of the fenders are gone. But the welds on the firewall are still good. The tops of the seams don't get all like fat and shitty looking like they do in certain parts of the world with high humidity. then the whole car is just garbage. There's nothing to even weld to. Like around here, the bottom 6 inches are gone, but at least you can weld to whatever's left. And that, I'm okay with that. That's actually doable. So JS's digging the Kaiser special project. Hope you sort it out soon. Thanks. Well, as I say, Kaiser is coming up tomorrow. More work, or this weekend, whatever. We will have a large feature on the Kaiser. Oh, well, look at all these. Well, thank you guys. Never miss an episode. That's very kind. And let's see. Last attempt for a parakeet eating diarrhea. Oh, well, there it is. That's awesome, Josh. Thank you for that thought-provoking question there. What's the status of Laura's Rover? Coming up tomorrow, a short update. Of course, Laura's farm and house projects are taking priority, as they should. But I do have a update on the Rover coming, which is a look at the engine as it is ready to go in, and a look at the rest of the body as they're putting the wiring and sound deadener back in it. And then when those items are done, it's coming back to me, and I will reassemble the body. And then by then the interior should be done. So it is still very slowly moving ahead, but of course the farm being priority, the toy car projects, have to get put aside till when there is time. So Clayton Patterson, I'll be damned. What's the story with the racer you were building 10 years ago? Oh, it's still sitting right beside the SM, Clayton. I would like to finish it. It's a tricky thing. Especially with doing YouTube, and I think I've mentioned this before, but as much as I would like to dedicate, the time to finish that, the thing with stuff like that is, and what we're doing here on the channel is largely driven by, to some extent, nostalgia, and it's not as much as it might be fun or cool or whatever. And I see this with other projects on other channels, is it's not really relatable. Like, nobody got dropped off at swimming lessons in a homemade roadster car when they were kids. So they're like, well, that's cool, but I don't really need to see it. So as long as I'm doing YouTube, unfortunately, the race car roadster thing kind of has been set aside, only because if I've got 10 other cars that I'm going to build anyway, and all 10 of them seem to have a little more appeal if in fact you are trying to make a living on YouTube, all else being equal, I have, and it kind of bothers me because, of course, I've got it in my heated shop and I've been blowing hot air on it for 5 years now and I've hardly touched it. It's just a matter of, there always seems to be something that gets in front of it for whatever reason. And in a lot of cases, it's like, well, this, like for instance, with the Fury, I was working on the Roadster, and then I got the Fury project. We started on that. Well, and then suddenly that really, people could identify with it. And they also, there's a certain redemption kind of feel that goes with, or, with really salvaging something really so terrible. Even though the Roadster is made out of thin air, the Fury somehow seemed more compelling as it was just such rubbish. So as much as I would like to finish the Roadster, it is, for whatever reason, not as compelling to somebody who's watching. And I totally understand that. And at first I was kind of like, well, yeah. I was kind of being a baby about it. And I was like, well, you got to understand, like, and when I see shows, like if I see a guy working on, for instance, some hyper exotic 300 SLR or something, well, like if I watch that, I'm just going to think, well, here's a $10 million shop with a $9 million car in it. And it's like, there's nothing there that really speaks to me. And so, and I think we all have our own, prejudices when it comes to what you're going to watch. And so if I've got to do 10 cars anyway, well, we'll pick the 10 that seem to make a little more compelling viewing, all else being equal. Certainly I'm not building or going on my way and buying cars that I wouldn't otherwise build. Like if I really would just cared about YouTube views, I'd probably just go, and get, a 69 Mustang and a 70 and a half Z28 and some really iconic, or a 69 Charger, some really iconic muscle cars, because it seems that you can just absolutely butcher those things and get lots of YouTube action out of it. But those cars they're, like, those cars are all in good hands. They don't need me, to kind of cheer them on. Like, those cars they've got great audiences for them already, and they've got lots of support already. And there's not really an underdog vibe there, which I really try to, which I don't know, is kind of what I like to watch. I like the underdog kind of feel. So I pick underdog cars and somewhat maybe less appreciated, but still, at least to me, compelling cars. Anyway, it's kind of a shit answer. Sorry, buddy. I hope it's better than no answer at all. Anyway, the car is still in there. Stop by and we'll finish it. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, okay, good. I'm fairly sore to. What's going on with the old Cadillac? You made the rear fender. Oh, that was for Jim's Continental. Yes, we did cover that briefly earlier, and yeah, we'll be getting back to it someday. It's up to Jim. Jim's very busy, and when he calls, I'll be over there. Absolutely. Yeah, throw a T Speedster together. Yeah, that's right. I think you did something like that, Clayton. Just kind of threw it together, right? Yeah, super easy. Yeah, I do have an extra engine. That's about all I've got, though. Yeah, somebody else for the $5 roadster. Well, keep going. If enough people tell me, I'll finish it. I'd like to, but it's the thing with it, as opposed to say something like some of these other things we're doing, like the Chev or the Buick or whatever, is the roadster is a more or less a fabrication project. So it's not really a have your friends over, drink a few beers kind of project. It's a little more. There's a lot of this and a lot of like holding a tape measure up and kind of, you know what I mean? Like, it's not really something that works well with a group of guys who want to just get together and have some laughs. Whereas something like working on the Buicks and the Chevs and putting engines together and all this type of thing is very much something that works well with your friends and hanging out. And I really, if that's my favorite part of the show, is that it's really just hanging around with your friends. And so it's much easier to hang around with my friends and work on the Impala or the Buick or this crummy old Kaiser or whatever. And that's all kind of leaning on the fenders and putting your wrenches down and not worrying about scratching it. And that stuff's a lot more easygoing, and the stress level is right down to zero. And I'm not like, oh, why did you do it like that? You know what I mean? So it's for what we're doing as a show, the subject matter has kind of evolved to fit what we're the vibe of hanging out. And so whereas kind of fussy little like, well, what shape should this bracket be, like that stuff doesn't translate very well to video unless you're Project Binky. That's the bracket. I mean, you can't even make a show about brackets after they have. I mean, they've more or less got the bracket market down, right? And kudos. I love Project Binky. I was a patron of their channel for, I think I still am. Awesome. But that's, if you're going to do a show about fussy brackets and bullshit, that's already, they've got that down. So we don't need to even try to play with that. But if you want to do a show about leaning on rusty junkers and drinking beer, okay, well, now maybe we can punch our weight in that show. So anyhow, if you want views, just buy square body Chevys. Yeah, fair play, right? Man, if I could have just filmed my life in the body shop in the 90s and made a channel of that. If I had known, I would have just carried a VCR around with me back then and just published it all now. I must have painted 5,000 of those things. Still, Kyle knows. There's Carter Auto Restyling. Forklift restoration. When is it getting started? I don't know, Kyle. You're just going to have to get over here and, help me. I was hoping that Kyle would chop the top while he was here, because it's got a really tricky kind of roof profile. And anyway, so forklift restoration. I'm just happy when the forklift itself gets started, much less the restoration on it. So So, yeah, you guys, I'm assuming everybody's watching Kyle Carter already. You don't really need any more encouragement from me. Kyle is awesome. I'm just lucky to know a gentleman like that. And good day from Mango McPoo from Australia. Cheers, man. Wow, this is fun. I didn't, man, there's like still 700. You guys, wow, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for stopping in. Did you already see the finished Lotus you painted? Yes, I actually did do a review or a look at the finished car after it was painted and reassembled with the engine in it. And I went over to John's shop there. If anybody wants to see that car, it's at Parts King in the West End in Edmonton. And it's in the showroom there, and it's on display, and it's ready to race, and it is just sitting in his showroom there. I still hope that John will let me take it for a drive around the block one day, but I tried sitting in it, and I will have to lose a few more pounds before that thing goes anywhere with me driving it. That is thing is tight in there. It is tight in there. I think. What's his name was not as robust as I am at the time. Forklift resto mod, yeah, for sure. Then let's see. Clayton says you're on, yeah, right on. Get over here. Let's see. Always notice forward-look mofars at Dean's. Why don't you want them? Well, because I have enough already. That's all. We had talked about that, but like I say, I only need enough to make 157 and 158. So buying 9 more shells that all need floors and they all need quarters and they all need front ends and they all got bent and rusty frames. Buying all that doesn't get me anywhere really. I'm not just in it to hoard 20 worn out, rotten, missing examples. I've only really once they're, I want one of each, nice drivers and maybe a parts car or two, and that's it. So there's not much percentage in me buying 6 more complete basket case carcasses and then just storing them here where I don't have room. So that's all. Yeah. And so there's is the Buick transmission overhaul going to get a video? Yes, it is. We are finishing, Honey Bunny's finishing the Chrysler 904 transmission first. And once that is back assembled, the Dynaflow is coming apart almost immediately after that. And we will do a fairly detailed walkthrough of that. And we're not going to become a transmission channel, but actually really kind of excited to see, I don't know much about automatics. I'm kind of excited to tear into it and see what it's going to take to put it back together. And people have suggested, well, why not put a turbo hydro 350 or 400 and get the adapter and blah, blah, blah. But I really do want to experience how a Dynaflow drives. I'm actually more excited to, and it'll be slower than, well, I don't care. I mean, I want to see what it's like to drive a car with a Dynaflow transmission. And I'm not building a 59 Buick flat top because I need to go fast. I mean, if I wanted to go fast, I'd just go rent a new car or whatever. So I just want to see how one goes, but it can't leak and it has to work properly. Otherwise it's not any fun. So I want to go through it. I don't even know if there's anything wrong with it. They're supposed to be pretty tough, but sure hate having put all that together and taking it apart and taking that in and out. And it's not like a super easy thing to get those in and out. So I only want to do it once. And so we're going to go through it, even if it's just to make sure that there's nothing wrong with it, and put seals and gaskets and clean it off, whatever. We do clean it up a little bit in the upcoming video this weekend, so we get a little closer look at it. And then we will definitely be doing a Dynaflow detail, and we'll do a certain amount of footage on it. But I mean, I'm not going to there won't be 100 hours of Dynaflow action, but it is something I've actually always wanted to try. So, let's see. What do I think is the ugliest car ever made? Well, that's a tough call. 49 Fraser I always thought was up there, but I've got one now. So I don't know. There's so many. Jesus. And honestly, it would probably be something modern, like ugly classic cars. Yeah, like, yeah, I would have to really think about, would have to look through. I mean, or we can just pick on the low hanging fruit like Trabants and shit like that. But if you're talking about, if we were to narrow it down, like, are we saying ugliest American cars, or, ugliest not Iron Curtain cars? Like, if we exclude Iron Curtain cars, just because that's kind of low hanging fruit, honestly, I think some of them are just appalling. But cars that somebody should have known better, certainly, I think, yeah, 49 Fraser was never a good looking car. I remember having seen pictures of them as a kid, and I just thought, wow, they just did the most transparently ugly ripoff of the Cadillac grille, and they stuck it on this Kaiser body, which was compromised. I learned years later, compromised right in the design process, because Henry Kaiser refused to spend the extra couple hours on doing the dies, nicely. He basically just wanted a mailbox that he could sell as many of as fast as he could, and that's what he got. And Howard Darren was apparently quite miffed, as he had, I think, every right to be, because they put his name on the trunk of this ugly car, and I believe that he made them take it off, is the story I got. But they had already punched holes in the first couple of thousand trunk lids, so he was stuck, with his name on that. But anyhow, there's probably a lot of ones that I'll kick up. I'll be laying in bed tonight, I'll be like, oh, of course, the whatever. Like, there was so many, like, I don't know, ugly in detail or ugly in just overall proportion. Like, there was a lot of cars. I think 73 Chryslers are ugly, just because I have a 72 and it has the beautiful loop bumper. And you look at the 73 Chrysler, and it's like, it just looks bad. It just looks like a 70. It looks like last year's Chevy, which is not really what they should have been trying to do with a supposedly upmarket car. But anyway, there's a lot of and then, do you say interiors? Like, I find that all the 70s B body Chryslers have absolutely terrible interiors. I mean, it looks like dashboard put together for prisoners. My dad had one, and I remember thinking, when we got this new car, this new 75 Plymouth, and we had a 69 Dodge Dart at the same time. And I remember thinking, why is our old car so much nicer than our new car? Because the new car, anybody who's got one of those cars, well, then you know what I mean. There's just not any way you're going to convince me that that's just like a beautiful piece of design. It's just not. It just looks like somebody went, oh, damn, we forgot to do the interior for these cars. Okay, well, give me 20 minutes. That's what it looks like to me. Now, where, sorry guys, just trying to find out where we're at here, making sure I'm not missing anything. Here we go. Clayton says, you'll have to bring me a T Speedster starter kit. Yes, well, that would be very fine. There would be that I would find a home for that for sure. Let's see. Jackie Stewart. Yes, well, I was thinking of what's his name, the designer for Colin Chapman. Sorry about that. Yes, and Jackie Stewart, of course. Oh, Jackie Stewart was awesome. He's awesome. So, any Panhards in Canada? Yes, there's actually a couple just down the road that are probably going to end up at Stephen's Place of Automobiles. Stephen and I, if we get a chance to go over before winter, there's two Panhard Dynas, I think, early 50s, mid 50s. You know, the ones that you see, you know, lots of. There's a couple of them there that I'll put it this way, that they were a little rough even for me, and that's saying something, but not for Steven, because Steven's going to live longer than me. So the really deplorable stuff, sometimes it's easier to just take it straight to Steven's because he's going to still be around. He may live long enough to put one together. Yeah. So, you guys cracking me up. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up. Just want to see the Cold War staff cars spliffy smoke out with a traction Avant. Yeah, me too, man. That is fun. We did do a hotbox the traction Avant with Dart Girl and Justin not too long ago. That was fun. And do I get any crap from the local government? No. I keep everything very well hidden, and I keep the rest of the yard very presentable. And we had a discussion with them wherein we agreed that if there were no complaints, then there was no offense. So I've just, you know, be a good neighbor, keep your yard clean. All the cars that you see are behind trees and they're in the middle of the yard, and everything you can see from the road is just lawn and grass and whatever. So I understand that not everybody likes tons of old cars just because I do. So I do try to keep that a little bit, so anyhow, so far so good, right? I mean, just trying not to, try to keep a low profile. I always did because I was painting cars here, fixing cars for people for years, and it is a residential area. So I just make sure there's no tow trucks, there's no junkers laying on their roofs in the yard, there's no cut up carcasses all over. I always kept it very tight and very low profile. There was never even a sign. Just once or twice a year, a car would come and get dropped off and picked up, and that was it. You'd never see anything. So far, so good. Yeah. Oh, somebody with MECs for a ugly car award. Yes. Funny enough, the Citroen Diane came up today. Top secret, but that's a car that I could be talked into looking at. And some cars are fun because they're so ugly. Like you could say, well, the Duchevaux is ugly, but yeah, but is it really ugly, or is it that's just the most sensible shape for what they were trying to do? And it's not so much ugly as it's just not styled in any way. It's just that's the most efficient use of tin to get 4 people across a field or whatever the design brief was. So, hi from Trish and Peter, long time. Well, thank you guys very much. Stude53 just made it to the live show. Cheers. And we're just getting, well, actually, we're been almost 2 hours already. Wow, that's great. And let's see what's coming. Tom must have been delighted to have you come in. Yeah, it's funny. I was joking the other day that Tom was already retired when I moved here, and I was figuring out how old Tom was, and I'm almost as old now as Tom was when I met him, and that's crazy because I was like, who's this old guy, right? And then he came over and yeah, he comes over just about every day, right? Tom was here again today, and he's always got cat adventure news. And what did he say today? He said, I'm going to town to buy myself something. That's what he said. I'm going to go buy myself something. And I said, oh yeah, what are you going to buy? He's like, I don't know. So that's all we know about Tom, is he's going to buy himself something. So that could mean anything. I mean, last time he went to buy himself something, it was a motorhome. It's about 4 blocks long. So that's it's always fun with Tom. You never know what's happening. And another question about the TA. Actually, I did go over that briefly a little earlier. Sorry, Richard. The plan is basically clean it up, make it roadworthy, and kind of drive it as is, rather than invest in a 1,000-hour restoration on it. So Sheldon also asking about the $5 roadster. Yeah, well, I mean, if there's enough interest in it, I'd like to finish it, honestly, just to get it out of the way. Just because, I could put another car in its spot. It's sitting there with a lot of hot air getting blown on it every day in the winter. So, again, we went over why it's not getting worked on, and it's mostly just because it's all else being equal. I'm just tending, and there's a lot of people who say you should finish it up, and I'd like to watch, but there's also, but way more people say that about certain other vehicles, and if I'm going to do them both at this point, it makes more sense to do the one. Again, it is a somewhat unavoidable side effect of trying to do YouTube for a living without doing YouTube. Like, I don't get up in the morning and think what's going to make YouTube. But if I've got two cars that I equal, that I'd rather no preference, well, then in that case, as long as they were both cars I was going to do anyway, I might pick the one that will do a little better business on YouTube. And that's just to be realistic, right? And not to try, and again, not being cynical about it, but it's just, realistically, if you're trying to make a living as a musician, and you gotta, you can take this show or you can take that show, and twice as many people will be at that show, and they obviously want to see you as well. Well, then you would have to do that one, and that's all there is to it. It's not being cynical. It's just to be realistic. So, Bruce Clarkson, $10. Thank you so much, Bruce. I will make sure that it gets wasted in the most appropriate way. We've already got somebody who bought me guitar strings, so maybe if we get a few more $10 donations. I don't know what a set of bass strings cost, but I got a bass there I could probably use. So that's going to buy at least two of them. Thank you so much, Bruce. And I will think of you guys when my guitar isn't going because the strings are so old that they're literally falling apart. So let's see, what are we up to? Darren asking about the Volvo. Yes, the 60 Impala is coming out of the garage in the next day or two, and I might whistle the Volvo through there just to get the body and paint done. It'll still need brakes, blah, 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 but that's going to be a little easier with the hoist now. So maybe the time is right to just, the Volvo's 90% there. It just needs the jambs painted and then straighten out the door dings and shit. And I'm probably going to paint both sides. I'm not going to paint the roof or the hood. That's the plan for the Volvo. We've got the inside all cleaned up and it's running really well, but it is a salvage. It's going to need a salvage inspection. So that means brakes, tires, all that has to be premium. That'll mean probably as the car is pushing 30 years old now, even though I bought it to be my new car, it's now going to be on antique plates anyway. But that means you probably, if anybody's ever seen the bottom of one of those S90s, the rear suspension looks like a friggin' roller coaster with rubber bushings at every intersection. It's quite insane and quite far outside of what I like to do, but it is supposed to be a very lovely car to drive. So I'm prepared to invest, especially when you see what the used car market is, just nothing but overpriced garbage lately. So I'm feeling actually kind of lucky to have managed to scoop that nice S90 when, before the used car market was so horribly decimated. That's the plan with the Volvo. And let's see what made me quit working in body shops back in the day. Well, I didn't really. What it was is I wanted a job. I thought that I wanted a desk job. I thought, wouldn't it be nice to go to work in clean clothes and come home in clean clothes? And I had quit drinking, so I went to school and I got a ticket in drafting and design or engineering draft, whatever the hell it was called. And I got a nice desk job where I sat in an office and whatever. But turns out I didn't want to quit working in body shops. I just thought that I did. So after about a year or two of that, I was like, I still have all these people asking me to do their cars. So I just quit my desk job and stayed home and just fixed cars in my garage. And once I took all that commuting out of my life and everything, I got happier. And I did that for about 10 years, and then started doing the YouTube thing in about 2010, and then started taking it seriously about 8 years after that. So yeah, that's kind of how it's gone anyway. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed the guy I worked, my boss Al. I still talk to Al, and he was the only guy I ever really worked for that I can still talk to and hang out with. So I see. I'll get a few more here, and then I'm going to have to run over to Dan's, whether he knows it or not. I'm going to stop by there, and I was supposed to go pick up the Model T today. Long story, but I ended up leaving it at Dan's because we were in a hurry and we were doing some more, again, photography for the calendar, and I was over at Dan's, and then anyway, I ended up leaving the T there because we were going straight downtown, and anyway, so I got to go pick up my T and get the Buick engine ready to run on Sunday. So that is the plan for this evening. Otherwise, unfortunately for you guys, I would sit here and waste your time. So luckily for everybody, I'm going to have to wrap it up in about 5 or 10 minutes here. But meanwhile, 1965 Monaco, build it. Oh, it's cut off the rest of your name, buddy. Sent me another $10. So there we go. Now we are bass strings as well. You guys, that is awesome. And thank you so much. We will make sure that it all goes to I was going to say a good cause, but mostly going to go to me. So much for that. Let's see. Love the live shows. Yeah. Yeah, I do. This was very last minute. I do prefer doing it with a bunch of the guys, but unfortunately today it was really, the whole week is really quite hectic. And then of course going to Amelia's play tomorrow, that's shooting up some editing time. So everything has gotten really compressed, and I just did not have time to shoot and edit a whole other video today. So I just thought, well, if we're I haven't really gotten a chance to answer any questions probably in almost a year. So let's do this. And so that's kind of what happened. So Shop Cat asks, is Al the Al at Al's Restorations? No, that's a different Al. No, Al's Restoration, that is Tom's neighbor Al. And yeah, he used to work from home as well, but he ended up opening at that Al's Restorations. And I think, as from what I understand, like many restoration shops, you start doing a little bit of collision and you realize that insurance pays way better, the work is way easier, and the customers are happier. And so you do tend, and I know a lot of, and it's not any reflection on the customers or the proprietors. It's just, it makes, there's a reason why big, successful money-making shops do not do restorations, because they do not make any money. And so if you want a successful body shop, restorations are kind of death, unless you're working at a 7-digit budget level where all you do is that, and you've got 15 coach builders there, and you've got people like, unless you're working at a shop where nobody even mentions how much it's going to cost. Because as soon as somebody's trying to figure out how much it's going to cost, that you're not going to make any money. The only shops that make any money doing restorations are the shops that they don't give you a quote. They don't, they might give you, you might negotiate when it's got to be done because it's got to be at Pebble Beach on a certain day. But those, small restoration shops, very difficult to make a go, especially when there's always going to be your neighbor banging on the door. My son smashed or I hit a deer, like deer hits. When you work in commercial shops, it's just deer hits, light hits, parking lot hits, that stuff is just, you just crank it out, and the money just, because you take the plastic bumper out of the bag and you Scotch Brite it and you spray it with the magic make the paint stick stuff, and you hang it up in the booth, and you mix the paint and it matches because the car is 6 months old, and you slam the bumper on with the clip, boom, $2,500. June next, there's 3 more, boom, boom, $10,000 a day. Just you can't do restorations and make anything other than the grind, just the slow, relentless grind. And then, and then in the end, nobody's happy. You're not happy because you didn't make any money. The customer thinks you charge him too much, so he's not happy. Restorations are a real tricky business, and it's not something that generates a lot of success for a lot of people at the retail kind of level, I think, in my experience anyway. And having worked in commercial shops, and you'd see that old Jag or that old MG, and it will sit in the corner for you because you're like, oh, whenever you got time, you get to it whenever, because the guy thinks he's going to save money if he just says whenever you got time. So it just turns into a shelf. And Tom tells stories exactly like the stories I tell a generation later. That old shit sits in the corner, and sometimes you got a little extra Bondo, and the guy will go over there and go, and then he'll put an hour on his card, and then, you know what I mean? Like the restorations that sit in the corner of the commercial collision shop, nobody's winning there. Eventually somebody gets mad and they either finally finish it and do it as fast as they can, or the guy takes it out of there and nobody's happy, and it can be a real challenging thing. And so when you see the big time restorations and it's really genuinely well done, that's because somebody said they took it somewhere where that's all they do, and they probably cost them, it might be costing them $1,500 to $2,000 a day to get it worked on. Now you start to see when the car, like these cars, some of these cars, they cost $10 million to restore. Well, okay, well, now you can afford to have the guy, fiddling around but that's what it takes. And some people have in their head that that's what they're going to get if they take it to the local splash and dash, that they're going to get some old Englishman in the corner with the lead, and none of that's going to happen. It's just not realistic. So, I don't remember what the question was. Sorry about that. Anyway, you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for hanging out. I can't believe it's been 2 hours. Man, I drank all my lemonade and wasted all your guys' time. Did you have a bet going with the beard? What must happen before we can see your smile? Well, the beard, well, the story of that is for another time. I think I'll put it this way. It's not because I think it looks great, right? It's more of like, if that's how we're going to run the world, then that's what you get out of me. Like, if this is how if this is supposed to be reality, then I am not, this is what you get from me. And that's kind of, without getting too far into it, you can make of that whatever you like, but without getting too much into it. It's certainly not a fashion choice. I'll put it that way. It's actually kind of, every time I go to weld something, I got to make sure it doesn't catch on fire. But anyway, I've got a very generous girl who sees past it somehow. Maybe you got X-ray beard vision. Maybe she just looks at pictures of me from a long time ago. Randy man, apparently broken in the head. That's at least two people, maybe more, probably a lot of you guys. So, like, there were entire days where I would work grinding, just doing the most ruthless, nasty cutting and chopping up cars and grinding and welding shit in, where I wouldn't make that much money. And so don't ever think that I would get casual about somebody donating that kind of money to me to sit here and answer questions. It's a little, like I say, I try not to get, it's a bit, I don't even really know how to thank a person for that, because you know, coming from a long lot of years of like literally like going to my bank and seeing like having to drive around to the bank machine that would give out fives because you didn't have 20 and you needed cigarettes or whatever. So I mean, don't ever think that I would take something like that lightly. Thank you. You know, what can I say? It is incredibly generous, and it's the generosity of you guys that has kept this going, because I was ready to give up probably 7 years ago. I was kind of like, you know what, this apparently is not going to fly, and it is taking me too much time. And so at that point, I kind of said, like, we either, you know, if you like this, if anybody likes it, then, you know, if people want to see it, then I just can't do it based on and again, at this point, YouTube had already changed all the rules, and now if you said any bad words, we weren't going to pay you, and then you know what I mean. So it just became either I have to quit because I'm not going to compromise it, or I have to see if there's actually enough support that I will keep doing it. And so when I see things like that, it really means a lot to me. So thanks so much, Randy. It's I don't even know what to say. It's just craziness. You know, you guys are all crazy. So it is geez, now I missed another 100 comments here because I'm rambling on. Yeah, you guys, did I ever hear of RM Restorations? Yes, I actually know a gentleman that used to work there. His name is David Ryan, and he has a YouTube channel and an Instagram account. And David Ryan is the best body man I've ever seen. And he, yeah, like, this is the thing when people say, "Oh, you're really good." I'm like, it's not false modesty when I say I'm not. Okay, I'm not just be like, "Oh, golly, no." Like, you guys, you haven't even seen body work until you've seen guys like Dave Ryan take a flat piece of steel and then just make a Bugatti out of it. And I don't mean like fucking bend the corners over and fill it all with Bondo. I mean like flat piece of steel, smash on it, and then put it on, and it's a Bugatti. Like, that's body work. What we're doing, we're trying to have some fun, and I'm trying to learn, and I love body work because I get up every day and I can get better, you know, and I'm happy that I was never an athletic type, because all those people have to live with getting worse every day after they're 22. And I can still get up every day and get better. And maybe not as, you know, my knees are going and whatever, but I'm mentally better at body work every day that I do it. And so of all the things that I picked to do with my time, I could not have, you know, for somebody who liked, you know, and I was not really able to think of much else. You know, I'm very fortunate, I guess I'm saying, to have picked something to do with my life that allows me to keep getting better well into when most people are past their prime at whatever they decided they were going to do. And so that means a lot to me. And so that's, again, I don't remember what the question was. Sorry. So, yeah, you guys, well, yeah, you guys are just awesome. So, yeah, flat rate, Kevin knows flat rate is a soul crusher. Yeah, there's a lot of that out there. And, you know, and I worked with a lot of guys older than me because I was fairly young when I was doing it full time in the industry, so to speak. And a lot of those guys were not really happy, you know, and it was strange for me because I was obsessed with cars, and I thought, oh, I'm going to go get in, you know, when I'm working in a body shop, everybody's going to talk about cars, and we're going to be just, everybody's into cars, and we love cars and old cars. And these guys didn't give a shit. They didn't even like being there. They did it. And I'm not saying they weren't good. And these guys, some of these guys were excellent bodymen, but when they punched that clock at 5:00, they didn't think about cars. They weren't even thinking about them while they were working on them. They were just like, this is my job. This is what I'm doing. And I'm good and whatever. And that was weird for me because I came at it from like, I love cars. And then whatever I got to do to be around cars all the time. And then you get around cars all the time and you're surrounded by people who could give a shit. And and there was the good ones, and then and then there was a lot of these guys that I'm like, even at 22 years old, I'm like, oh, this guy's a hacker, man. He's been doing this for 30 years and he's bad. And and then everybody, and it was easy. Of course, we used to drink like pirates too, and so you'd see that this, and I could see, and I thought, is this really, like, do you want to be this in 20 or 25 years? And I thought, I really like the cars and I like the work, but I don't really think I want this life. I just see these guys are not happy. So it was strange and difficult thing to think about. How are you going to take from this what you want and not be burdened with the rest of it? Not to get too Kamala Harris on anybody, not to get too gibberish. But yeah, again, sorry I forgot the question, but whatever I was talking about there, when Trudeau goes, the beard goes. I thought of that. I did think of that, Bill. And I think maybe more than him has to go, though. So Mike Goldberg, sorry you just tuned in so late, buddy. We're just about shutting her down, but hang on a second here. What? Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out where we are here. There we go. So I'm going to what is it? 9:15. Okay, we'll go 5 more minutes, and then I gotta get over to Dan's because we got to keep working. And you guys have been so kind. I can't I can't thank you enough. I wonder, is the menace? Oh, she's asleep. I can't wake Frankers off, you guys. I'd love to have her come in and like wave her little legs around, but she just looks so happy sleeping in her little chair there. So, excuse me. And so I just thought we could wrap it up. Maybe we let's see. Is any? Well, you guys, thank you for all the kind words, and yes, thank you so much. It's I wish I could read fast enough to be able to do to do a better job of answering any of your questions. So I kind of have to be looking just for literally looking for a question mark, and but of course understood. Please understand how much I appreciate that anybody would come. I mean, 2 hours of me rattling on and still like hundreds of people here watching. So it's really very gratifying, and it's very strange for somebody, who literally my life doesn't go beyond between here and my garage and here. And I'm happy with that. Like, I don't want more out of it than that. So when I see things like this and do things like this, it's very strange, but it's it's fun. Don't get me wrong, it's fun, but it's still a bit weird for a guy who's like pretty close to being just a recluse. So there. Oh, Jason, another for the Broken in the Head Club. $70, man. Like, come on, keep it going. Well, I'll keep it going. Yeah, you damn straight. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, man, keep it. I was in a project where I was in a situation where I couldn't own a project car for many years. And, even the ones I did own, I had a couple, and they would be stored at somebody else's house, getting rained on and stuff. And there was, I get it entirely. So thanks so much. I totally get it. And in those, and when I got here, even though there was no tools and I had nothing, I had no light bulbs, no compressor, but I had that big empty rundown barn. And I was like, just getting my cars in my own yard was such a thing. And here we are, a quarter of a century later. I wrote the wish list when I moved here, and it started with compressor, and then MIG welder. Well, I mean, these are things that are not that much money. But at the time, I mean, there was no way any of that was happening. And it was just one year we'd get a welder. And then the next year I got, I don't know, a crescent wrench or something. Like, it was very slow. And then one year we made the English wheel. I mean, I didn't really know how to use it. Still barely use it or barely know how. But it was like, wow, look at this. It's just like TV. And then I was like, wow, I made an ashtray. Yay. So, it was a long grind. And now what we're getting, like, man, to have a lift now and be able to do brakes, not kneeling on the gravel, like just stuff like that. And it's really, having not had any of that for so long makes me appreciate it. And this too, like none of this, can you imagine? I mean, I was looking the other day at the YouTube, you can have your statistics for your YouTube channel, and I know I hear people like, oh, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and it's taking forever. And and they see they're like, oh, you got X subscribers and that. But what did we see? We were looking at like the first year of doing YouTube. I think I had like 80 subscribers, and then 3 years probably to get over 500, or 4 years to get to 1,000. So to sit here doing something like this, like there's 650 people watching this, and that's more subscribers than I had in the first 2 or 3 years I did this. Not that I was really serious about it, but it's just fun to, when you have that perspective, it makes it very easy to appreciate the stuff that I have, whether it's the tools, the cars, the audience, the support, all of it, and I'll put it, I certainly don't have any trouble staying, realistic about what you are and what you are and what you're doing. So, again, there was probably no question there either. Sorry. There's where are we getting to? You guys, man, I'm trying to wrap it up here, right? Richard Lincoln, thank you so much. Another patron of the show. Very kind. Always look forward to comments, and I love seeing so many of the names that I see in the comments actually coming out of your way to stop in and say hi. There's so much. You guys making me laugh here. Let's see. Oh, more requests for Honey Bunny to come in and just wave in front of the camera. No, she's not doing it. No. That's all right. Yeah, I know I said that an hour ago. Let's see. When all the trendy crap is coming on, Cold Motors will still be here. That's right. It'll still be here. It'll still won't have 100,000 subscribers. I'm not bitter until I see like some of these channels like getting 100,000 subscribers in 2 weeks and just doing absolutely garbage work. I don't know. Maybe I made that up. Anyway, it is what it is. You guys, from Hawaii. Well, thank you guys so much. Gimli. I've been to Gimli. That's cool. Oh, and Jonathan W. said, well, that's cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed any chance I got to communicate with Jonathan W. There's a serious guy, right? He's not just arsing around with his friends getting stoned. That guy gets up and does more work before I got up than I ever will. That guy's a serious guy. And yeah, I've met some fantastic people doing this. I mean, I've gotten to talk to Dan at DD Speed Shop on the phone several times. Yeah, it's fun because I, like everybody else here, just sees him on the thing, and then when you're talking to him, it's like, it's that guy. That's awesome, and he's and it's there's no put on there. That guy's genuinely broken in the head. Like he gets up in the morning and he thinks about cars. That's what it takes for me to understand, or to even try to understand somebody. It's like, okay, well, you get up in the morning and the car switch is turned on and you're like, cars. So that's it's fun that there's somewhere for us to or that there's people out there who maybe think I'm less insane than someone like, say, my parents. So they still think I'm a bum. Well, they're right, but they just don't, and that's fine. I mean, they didn't get it when I was 10 years old, and they don't really get it now. They're like, what's with all these cars? I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, what else is there, you know? So, it's Kiwi Classics. I'll be damned. Another fellow who I've had the pleasure of very briefly communicating with. I'm assuming you guys all know Kiwi Classic and Custom. Hey, he's enjoying the Impala. Oh, thank you so much, man. That guy is serious guy too, right? Like, there's another guy who's not just horsing around smoking weed with his friends. That guy's serious guy. How cool is that? You would stop in, man. That is awesome. And well, we're we're just wrapping it up, man. Well, you should. He's got my number. If you still need Dodge 59 parts or Plymouth, he's 59 Plymouth he's building or was. Unless I've missed out, I think he's still going on that one. You let me know anytime, buddy. I probably got a few things, or I'll just send them anyway. Oh, Vanessa at work here had a few minutes. Oh, that's cool. Crushing Vanessa, been a patron of the show for many, many years, and one of a very small number of people who I actually met when I drove across the country. Vanessa made the effort to come out and have lunch with me and Mark, and that was really a fun afternoon. And as I said, one of maybe 3 people that we met on that huge drive. Of course, we did 4,000 miles in 2.5 days, so it was some long days, and that was a really fun. That was in Winnipeg, and that was a terrific afternoon. And road trip, well, not really in any hurry for another road trip. We'll see. I mean, every time I say I'm going to take a road trip, I end up, starting another car. And the thing with the YouTube channel is nobody's really subscribed to watch me drive around and eat lunch in gas stations, right? So because of the way it seems to be working and the amount of editing and the amount of hours that go into it, it kind of, I'm content that it's not happening, but it's something that will probably have to wait, but I will be doing that. Oh, is this Dan? That's Dan. He's probably like, what the hell? Get over here. Get your stupid car done. All right. Well, you guys, thank you so much. So, yeah. Oh, well, thanks so much. Yeah, you guys. Well, I'm assuming you're already watching Mexican Spec and Shopcat and Kiwi and all them guys. So, it looks like Randall's had to take off. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much again. I don't know what to say, but it's been it's been a blast, and I would do it more, but I don't want to, I don't, it's I don't know. You guys let me know if you like doing more of this kind of thing. It's certainly it's very easy, obviously, for me to sit here and shoot the shit with such a supportive and interesting and fun and involved group of people. So it certainly wouldn't hurt my feelings. We didn't get to any mail. Tell you what, we'll do it again before too long, maybe in the next the next month or two, and I'll get a bunch of the fellas here and we'll do a proper job of it, and we'll open the mail. There won't be much time for questions, but I hardly get through any of them anyway. So you guys are, it's very easy for me to sit here and talk about cars with people who dig that kind of thing. So thank you so much. And I'm going to sign off here before everybody hangs up on me. So cheers. I got to go get my car and whatever and all these types of things. So all the very best, and we'll see everybody. Well, video, usual bullshit on Saturday. Okay, cheers.